So growing up, I wasn't raised in a horse family. So the very first time I really remember horses was my mom took me to a little riding stable, and I was probably about 3. And I remember she just sat there and held me on a horse. And like from that day on, I was hooked. And like I said, we raced motorcycles. That's what we did. We rode horsepower, not horses. But I always wanted a horse and begged for him and wanted to ride and was just never in a position or an opportunity to do so. And when I was 11, I finally got my first horse and I was hooked from there on out. She was unregistered and we don't know how old she was, but I'm pretty sure she was pretty ancient. And she didn't really know anything, but she was so forgiving. And my neighbors actually competed in gymkhanas, which included barrel racing, and they kind of got me talked into going to some of those with them. And of course, from racing motorcycles, I like to go fast, and my parents wanted me to show Western pleasure and halter, and actually bought me a registered quarter horse in which I could do that on by this time. And I just wanted to go fast everywhere I went. So I started going to those gymkhanas and play days and fell in love with barrel racing, and it just escalated into the jackpots and junior rodeo. And my parents didn't know much. My dad had a very good eye. Like, he's one of those people that didn't know horses, but he could watch. Like, he's very smart, and he helped me a lot in that manner and was very supportive. But other than that, they made sure that I got in the right hands, and they were very smart as far as they didn't just take me to barrel racers. Like, I would go clean stalls for a cutter or a lady that rode dressage horses and exchange for, hey, can I bring my horse? Can I watch you ride? Can you help me? And I was able to kind of learn horsemanship from numerous people. And again, it wasn't just about barrel racing. And I fell in love with young horses and the training aspect of it at a very young age. Like, my very first futurity horse was Pants on Fire, and I was in high school when I got and trained and competed on her, and she was the 3rd highest money earning futurity horse in the nation that year. So right from the beginning, I was hooked and liked horses off the track. So that's where most all my prospects would come from, were race horses. And I love the transition of taking them from there to teaching them how to rate, slow down, turn a barrel, and it's just been something I've been passionate about ever since. But yeah, it all started with a girl with a dream of having a pony. I was really blessed growing up because I was able to be exposed to different disciplines in the horse industry and ride with different people whose main goal wasn't going fast or winning the barrel race. And it was actually kind of, they were involved in show events where it was judged, and, whether it be cutting, reining, dressage, working cow horse, just great horsemen and women who had to make it look pretty. So I learned the fundamentals of how to control the horse's body, and then was able to kind of take what worked for me of controlling that horse's body, but then understanding that I'm not in a judged event, and even though I want it to be pretty and correct, it still needs to be fast. So I was able to form a style that works for me based on what they do, but also making it so my horse can be as fast as possible through that turn. So I feel like it's really important for barrel racers to get that, especially, young up-and-coming ones. Like, I would never turn down the opportunity to go ride with a great hand. I mean, whether it be a horsemanship guy, like Chris Cox, like you name it, like anybody who's just knowledgeable in the horse industry and you can learn from. I think you can learn so much. And for me, I can't always take it as gospel. I've got to find what works for me. I got to stay true to myself and my roots and what I believe in. But I learn from people all the time, and I think as a barrel racer, you need to. Like, you really need to explore the horsemanship aspect of it so you can truly understand, how to get your horse to do what you need them to do, and communicate with them in a language that they understand is the main thing. If you're it's just like if you go to France and you speak English and they speak French, it's not going to be good. You need to learn to communicate in the same language. So for me, riding with those people has just taught me how to find different ways to communicate with each horse to get, so we're on the same level. So I think it's silly of any barrel racer to turn down those opportunities. It's horsemanship. Barrel racing needs to be about horsemanship, so. The National Finals Rodeo, it's kind of one of those things when you go there that you're overwhelmed and you want to say it's this weird contradiction for me in my brain. Like, you want to elevate it into something huge, but at the same thing, like the way my brain and my mind works, I don't want to psych myself out. So I'm like, it's just another rodeo. It lasts for 10 days. It's a new rodeo every night. So I think depending on how a person mentally thinks of things depends on how they look at going to the national finals. But I don't care how calm you try to stay, whatever, there's this excitement every night at the grand entry. Like when you go running in there behind your state flag and you're sitting in that arena and everybody's there and the announcers are booming, and I mean, like, your heart's just pounding. It's the greatest feeling on earth. I mean, to be there and be able to do that and running down the alley, it's an awesome feeling. It's something that barrel racers dream of. Like, I don't care. There is not a barrel racer out there who does not want to run down the alley at the Thomas and Mack. They might not want to do what it takes to get there, driving, living like a gypsy, all of that, but they want to be there running barrels. So it's an indescribable feeling. Danyelle's life over 5 to 10 years. This is always something I ask myself every day, but no, you know, I really am passionate about training young horses, and I've been very blessed to see horses that have come up through my program go on to win, you know, national high school championships for people and BHA championships, and, you know, people fulfill their dreams off of my horses. And I would say that's probably the most satisfaction as a barrel horse person. Of course, that's the training side that I've ever got, is literally being able to see my horses do well with other people. So that's something that's always going to be there for me. Kind of added my little breeding program to it now, which is not huge, but it's special to me, and it all goes back to my great mare Hittin' Pay Dirt, who I lost and only ever got 2 wonderful fillies out of her that are both now mares. And one is Repeat Fame, who I've been to the national finals on, and has just fulfilled every dream I wanted to have. I mean, all I ever wanted to do was go to the national finals rodeo on a horse that I raised, I trained, I did everything with, and she filled that dream for me. And you know, the fact that I ran her mother was even more special. And now I'm getting babies out of Repeat, and I think my main dream is to go on with them and have, you know, that bloodline be the future of my program and what I ride. And there's probably a pretty good chance I might rodeo again in the not too distant future. I don't know. It's always something that I'm a homebody and I love to stay home and ride colts, but every now and then it's like, I'd like to get out there and rodeo. It's just, it's a thrill inside you, you know, the lights, the crowd, and whatnot, that you don't really get from training colts or even going to futurities, even though my own personal satisfaction is probably more based on having a 4-year-old go win a futurity because you know what all you've been through. There's a part of me that really loves to rodeo also, so I imagine it's going to be time to do a little bit of that again soon. So every barrel racer has those favorite runs on their favorite horses, and I've been really lucky to have a few really wonderful horses that have done amazing things for me. And some of the most memorable things I've done have been places that really weren't that big or didn't pay that well, but like, I'll never forget when I got Howlin' at the Moon and, you know, took him to the Denver rodeo in January and had to beg my dad to let me go, and, you know, and so much pressure. He didn't want me to go, and like, just the fact that he went there and I won the rodeo. He did so well. I won the 2nd round, the short round, and just that feeling of like running in the short round and having that opportunity to win. And so I get a little emotional, I'm sorry, but those great horses, they mean the world to me. I can't watch Secretariat run without bawling either. But I think that's one of the most memorable runs, because that was my, you know, biggest rodeo win to date, and it was, you know, the first step of me obtaining a goal of qualifying for the NFR that I probably didn't even know was a goal until I made that run and was like, wow, this horse and I can do it. You know, we're the real deal together. So that was probably one. And I'd say after that, it was that same horse. I won the rodeo in Ponoka, Canada on him one year, and it just kind of came at a time when it was special to me. And the short round, it was pouring down rain. I mean, just sloppy mud everywhere, and you know, nothing's really running fast, and he set an arena record in it. So it was another one of those deals where, just like when a horse shows heart, I think it means a lot. But other than that, I think Repeat Fame, she's brought a lot of those memories out because she's special to me, and her mom was. And Probably the most memorable run I've ever made on her was at the WPRA finals in, you're gonna have to bear with me here, 2008, I believe it was. She won the first round of the Open, and that by 3/10. And I mean, it's who's who in barrel racing was there, and it was probably the best barrel run I've ever made in my entire life. And I don't have it on video, but someone does, because it was shown on the WPRA channel and I always want to get it. So if anyone can get that, you let me know. But that was probably the best barrel run I've ever made in my life. And it was just one of those deals where when I was running her, like, you knew it was that good. Like, I was like, wow, this is, you know, just the feel of what was going on under you. So obviously I get emotional over everything for a different reason, but horses have a way of making each run special. Like, they just come through for you in a way that means a lot, and it's not always the biggest check you won or the most pressure you were under. It was just when a horse came through at a time that you needed it. So those are probably my 3 most memorable runs.